All right, ladies and gentlemen, in programming, we're going to do part 3. We're going to add some if statements into our car loan calculator to make it more functional. So what I want you to do is first write down what is an if statement. What is an if statement? Write that down in your notes, and then I'm going to hit pause on this video while you're writing it down. Whatever you do, do not play any more of this video until you write down an answer in the notes. I don't care if it's right or wrong, but write something down. All right, here we go. What is an if statement? An if statement is a conditional statement that allows you to make decisions in your program. So it makes decisions that allow some lines of code to run depending on some sort of input or some sort of condition. All right, so what do you write down? It is a conditional statement that allows you to make decisions in your project. Write that down. Okay. Be sure to save your work and make backup copies of the code to a Google Doc. What does that mean? Well, I will tell you. What that means is every now and then you should click on this and hit save. Okay, and also you should also turn on the auto save. It doesn't really work great because it only saves when you hit execute. So before you end, you need to save everything. And then also, every now and again, you need to select all this stuff and copy and paste it to a Google Doc so you have a backup. So make sure you do that. That's just smart. Not doing that is the opposite of smart. It's foolish. All right, let's build in some requirements that would prevent a buyer from taking out an invalid car loan, such as if a loan length or interest rate was 0. So this happens all the time if you're actually on an online, some sort of online thing, you're filling out a form, and if you put some information that won't work for them, they give you a little warning message. So we're going to do the exact same thing. All right, so what I want you to try to do is inside your new method called calculate loan, I want you to write an if statement that will check whether the loan length is less than or equal to 0. And then next, inside of the if statement, print out a helpful error message to the user. For example, you can print out something like, hey, the loan length must be greater than 0, and then add a comment above that, okay? All right, so see if you can do that. So we want to check the loan length. All right, let's take a look over here. Let's go over here. All right, so basically we have this thing right here, right? Int loan length is 3. So the loan length can't be 0 years, right? So it has to be 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5, or 6, or whatever years, right? And so if we were to put in a 0, we should get some sort of error message, okay? And so we're going to put the code right here in our calculate loan method. So we're going to click here, hit enter, and we're going to start here. Now I want you to try it first before I do it, right? I want you to try it before I show you. So give it a shot, give it a good faith effort. Try it like at least 3 times to get it to work before you watch the rest of it. So hit pause. All right. Okay. So here we go. So you're going to start with if, no, yes, no, if, and then we're going to look at loan length. Okay. So we want to look at the value of loan length. Okay. So if loan length is less than or equal to 0, then what are we going to do? So we're going to hit enter. We're going to say system dot out dot print, and something like this, and we want to say something like that. Okay, the loan length must be at least 1 year or more. So something like that. Okay, and so let's run it. Let's execute it. And oh my goodness, loan length. Okay, so it doesn't like, what is it like? Error 28. Oh, did I forget it? Semicolon? Holy smokes! What a rube. All right, let's try that again. Okay, so here, see what happened. It says it did it. Loan length must be at least 1 year or more, right? We got that, and then look at this. It's like, oh, crash! You can't do it because right here we're trying to divide the Oh, we're trying to divide by months, right? So what's 0 times 12? Well, 0 times 12 is 0, so months is equal to 0. And we're trying to divide here by months, and it can't do that, so it crashed, right? So we did one thing well, is that we got our if statement to work, but what we really needed to do is make this stop working. We wanted this to work, but this to not work, right? So let's just double check one thing and make sure if we change this back to 3, then this should no longer print out. So let's at least try that. Okay, so this works well, but it's not quite perfect because this should never run. If that equals 0 or less, then this should never run, right? All right, let's go back to our spiel and see what the spiel says. What good thing happens? What bad things happen? I just answered that. What good thing happened? What happened that we wanted to? What bad thing happened? I just answered that. And if you don't remember, then I'm thinking mean and hurtful things about you, but I won't say them on my video. But the good thing that happened is this ran how it was supposed to. The bad thing that happened was this. If this was not supposed to run, if loan length was 0. All right. So let's go back to here and see what we're supposed to do. All right. All right. So what do we need to change? How do we change that? That's an easy fix. How do we fix it? Answer that question before I continue on. Answer that question. And we have to change the if statement into an if then else statement so that the loan length is 0. The calculations don't get executed. If the previous Boolean expressions do not evaluate to true, only then should you calculate the monthly payment in an else block. What does that mean? See if you can do that. And we're going to turn this into an if-then statement, if-then-else statement. See if you can do it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come right here. I'm going to say else, and then I'm going to do my curly brace, and then I'm going to come right here, hit enter, and do my closing curly brace. So now that should work. All right, so let's try it with a 0 again. Execute, and loan length must be at least 1 year or more, so this never ran. Perfect. And if we change it back to a 3, let's see if it works. Okay, worked great. All right, perfect. We got it. All right, let's go. Let's jump back to the spiel. We're not done. We've got more to do. All right, now change the if-then statement to an if-then-else if, so that it also checks whether the interest rate is less than or equal to 0. And then same thing, print out a helpful message if it does it. So I want you to do it first. Hit pause on this video. You try it, and then we'll do it. We'll check it out together. All right, so now we're going to do if. No, you do it first, though. You try it. So we're going to say else if, and then we're going to put in over here, we're going to put in, we want to check the interest rate. Okay, so we're going to put down else if interest rate is, and then we'll copy this, is less than or equal to 0. And then we're going to put in our closing parentheses, something like that. And then we're going to hit enter. And we're going to put in a closing curly brace. And what do we want to do? We want to say something like, something similar to this. So the interest rate must be at least 1% or more. No, it actually could be it just has to be greater than 0. Something like that. Okay, let's see how this works. Okay, so let's see if we make our interest rate 0. Oh, wait, hold on though. Let's make sure we got our, we messed it up because this needs to be a an else again. Our else goes there. So if, else if, else. So then, and then I need my curly brace. Okay, so this will only run if this is greater than 0 and this is greater than 0. So something like this. Okay, so let's run it and see if I got it right. Interest rate must be greater than 0%. All right, so let's say, let's see what happens if this is. So there will be an interesting thing here, which I think is probably okay. So if we hit execute, so we have 2 mistakes. Okay, but it only catches one at a time. So it never got down to here. So if we make this equal to 3, then oops, that wasn't a 3. No. If we make that a 3, it'll catch the next error for the interest rate. So if we fix the interest rate, then it'll actually run. We'll see. Hopefully it's going to run the other piece. Yeah, your monthly pay. Okay, so those both have to be correct like that. Okay, so that's pretty good. That'll work. Let's go back to our spiel. Okay. I think that's probably good for today. All right, so be sure to save your work. Okay, so let's go over here. Make sure you hit save and close. Make sure you copy this and make a backup to your Google Doc. All right, so far so good.